Derby Day is here. The town looked to right some wrongs at Vicarage Road on Sunday afternoon when we looked to complete the double over our rivals. Alongside me to preview the game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, if anything can turn this mess around, please let it be Derby Day.
It's got to be this one, isn't it? This is like a cup final, World Cup, Silver Jubilee, everything all rolled into one at the moment.
It's kick-started this season once. Let's hope it does it again. We'll preview it all right after this intro.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. This season, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned before the intro, we are looking ahead to Derby Day, Sunday afternoon, 12 noon kickoff. If you haven't got a ticket for this one, this is on Sky Sports Plus. So you will have the chance to watch it. I referenced the award win there, Jimbo. I mean, they don't have any cups, do they, down at their place? So there's immediately something to look at.
I don't know how many people are looking forward to this game, but it might actually be a blessing in disguise that it is this game, because it needs something to pull us out of the slump that happened midweek, really. There was no dressing up that performance, and well done to anyone out there and listening and watching world that managed to get through the whole of that podcast that we did. Listen, if you're looking for hope, then can we cling to it all goes out the window on Derby Day? Maybe that's it. Maybe. What do you reckon? Put it in the comments.
It does. It's, this could be a podcast of plenty of Derby Day cliches, but I mean, you mentioned there that, let's hope that that's the thing that changes it. I mean, right up until 11:59 on Sunday, we're going to hope that, and let's hope at 2:00 that's what we're referring to. But, we haven't won there since 2002. Listen, these are just the facts. We haven't won there since 2002. Okay, there's an awful lot of time in that was dormant and we didn't play down there. Haven't won a league game there since 1994. This is very much a derby where the home team's suddenly dominating all of a sudden. However, if it does all go out of the window, then, that's a good thing. The one thing we do know, they haven't turned up at Kenilworth Road. They're nothing particularly special. That's not to say that they're as bad as what we are, or, certainly haven't been recently. But we know that this means an awful lot to our players. They've shown it even in the times where they couldn't seemingly motivate themselves for normal times, that they did it for the home game. And we've just got to hope that those memories and those feelings sort of get revoked on Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely that. You've got to dig deep, find it where it hasn't been apparent in quite a lot of games, and find it for this lot. There's an awful lot of odds stacked against Luton just generally, but when you put those results and the head-to-head and the trips down to the allotments, then it doesn't look very good. But Luton have to try and turn the table on these statistics, on this form, on their away days, on everything, to even stand a hope of getting out of this. Mathematically, it's still doable. Anyone watch that Plymouth reaction podcast? I think that the general feeling for most people is that realistically it's not. But there is this one chance, it's not one chance, but this one big game that maybe the fever of Derby Day, you forget about all the things that have gone wrong and just try and go at them hammer and tongs and get something. That's where we are. We're at the we're standing on the edge of like just hoping, clutching at straws and stuff. But in the same way that anyone talks about a cup tie can, take the edge and the pressure off a league campaign, this is as close as you're ever going to get into a league campaign to a sort of cup tie feel. And you've got to try and grasp it this time. We're running out of time. That's clear. If not now, when?
Well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, the nails have been lined up for the coffin. They've not been hammered into them yet, but this lot will take no mercy in hammering one in, won't they? And we've got to make sure it doesn't happen. Listen, let's get the bad thing out of the way first. For the love of God, this can't be as bad as the last time we were down there. It just can't. We cannot let that happen. Whatever happens on Sunday afternoon, at no stage can it be allowed to be as bad as it was down there the last time.
It can happen. Let's be honest. In the way that this is going, that can happen. That's a very realistic possibility. We've got to put all the efforts in to try and not make that happen. And that's talking about a defeat. But we need wins. Let's be honest. We need wins. We've won once away all season, and that was 5 very, very, very long months ago.
Feels like 5 years, doesn't it?
It does. It has to change. But it doesn't just have to change at the allotments. It has to change everywhere. It has to change at home. It has to change at every single away game now, because we can't keep going. There's still time. Theoretically, yes, but we all have been in football long enough to know. Realistically, no.
Yeah, I mean, we're still clinging to that hope, aren't we, that one result can start a domino effect. I mean, we can't get that result. Seemingly no closer to getting that result. But yeah, if all logic goes out of the window here, then you just don't know. I mean, I made my feelings perfectly clear on our plans and everything else with regards to our recruitment and everything in the last podcast, that for the second time this season, we seem to have recruited for a formation that we still can't play or won't play, or whatever the situation is. Here, though, I'm perfectly fine with us playing how we played on Tuesday night. The more direct, the better, because they didn't fancy the direct stuff at home. They're not going to fancy the direct stuff away from home. So the more physical, the more direct, the more long balls that we can get up to the front two that can have a go at these defenders who aren't particularly great, let's be honest. They concede goals every week. The better. That is the way forward in this game. It's not a style that I particularly want to adopt forever and a day. But right now, it's needs must. It's not a formation that I like, but right now it's needs must. If we're going to get a result on Sunday, it's going to have to be horrible. It's going to have to be physical. It's going to have to be direct. All the things that they've shown every single time we've used it against them that they don't like. They'll be prepared for it. They'll have watched it on Wednesday night. They'll have had someone, if not at the ground, someone would have been watching it on television or whatever. They'll know exactly what's coming. But knowing what's coming and then dealing with it are two different things. And we've just got to hope that even though they know what's coming, they can't deal with it.
We said not to do that against Plymouth for a very specific reason. And the reason was borne out when we played Plymouth. Their centre-backs gobbled up everything that we tried. But we've got the precedent of them coming to Kenilworth Road, Watford coming to Kenilworth Road, and not fancying it, not standing up to the test, wilting under the pressure. Now, obviously, the tables are going to be turned in the sense that they're going to have their home fans behind them. And up until a certain point this season, they had a really great home record. That's kind of fallen away now. But they've got that home form. They've got that home head-to-head record. They've got lots in their favour. And Luton haven't got lots in their favour just generally this season. So, chances were created against Plymouth. Now is the time to stand up. Now is the time to be a hero. Now is the time to take those chances, because we ain't going to have a lot of time to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. If our season's going to be saved, you kind of get the feeling that it has to be saved, if not on Sunday, immediately after. I mean, again, I look forward. You can if you get results Sunday, Portsmouth at home suddenly becomes a winnable game. They're just as bad as Plymouth away from home. Oh, no, they're not just as bad, but they're not a great deal better than Plymouth away from home, should I state. And, you can see that 2 wins that I've been clinging to all season potentially happening. Obviously, we've got to get the first one. And, Sunday, I don't think anyone's going to Vicarage Road expecting us to win, right? Everyone's going to Vicarage Road.
That's the worst thing, isn't it? Because this fixture should be the most exciting, and it's just trepidation at the moment.
Indeed, yeah. Listen, every one of us that's in that away end on Sunday, we will be there doing our bit for our football club. That's a given, right? We'll be up for it in the terraces, whether we truly believe that we will win the game or not. We will be up for it in the terraces. That's an absolute given on Derby Day. The fact that the kickoff time doesn't exactly help create an atmosphere is not ideal, although maybe the fact that it's down there is probably going to help us a little bit. But ultimately, until we leave for Watford on Sunday, no one's really going to go there thinking we are going to go and win, because, like you've referenced, we've won one away game all season. Was it Derby at home the last time we've won a game of football? And even that feels like an eternity ago. But the one thing that will not be accepted on Sunday, and it shouldn't be accepted any other day of the week either, but it will not be accepted on Sunday, is if we do not give this absolutely everything we've got in the way that we did in that home game last time around. No excuses. None of this, we had to play Wednesday night and they didn't play Wednesday. None of that nonsense. This is a game of 90 minutes. You haven't got a game for another 6 days after. It's not like you've got to wait and prepare for Wednesday night or anything like that, like we've had to originally. Absolutely everything has to go at that team on Sunday as if this was the last game of the season and you need 3 points to stay up.
Absolutely. It's the only way, because nothing else suggests that it's going to go right. I've referenced before, and Watford fans might want to write this down, but in the third game of a 3-game week, which this now is because of the fixture, the Plymouth fixture that was moved, in a third game of a 3-game week, Luton Town this season have got 0 points. That, faced with all the head-to-head statistics of going to the allotments that you reeled out, that plus the disappointment at Wednesday, that plus the disappointment of the whole season, that plus the relegation fears, means you have to go at this like you have never gone at another football match before, because everything else is stacked against you.
Yeah, it is. Yep. We're not going to cover Watford too much, but if we allow I can't even do the geezer's name, the number 8. If we allow him to run if we allow him to run the game, it's going to be a long afternoon for whatever we do. And we are absolutely perennial architects of our own downfall with this, with allowing the playmaker to run the game of football at the minute. If we allow him to run the game of football on their big pitch, it's just going to be a long, long afternoon. Whatever we do, shut him down.
Yes, because if he's allowed to do what he does, he's got the highest
chance
creation in the division. Well, we had that until Doughty got injured, but he's got that now. If he's allowed to run the game and pull the strings and get the goals, and we don't lay a glove on them, I fear for the rest of the season, because yes, it's correct mathematically, Luton can still get out of this, and in theory there's enough games. I don't see the evidence of it myself, but if this lot turn Luton over this game, I don't think you lot in the stands are going to be very happy, and then I don't think that's going to transmit to let's all be positive atmosphere for the rest of the season. I hope I'm wrong, because that's all I want. That's all I said at the beginning of the season. I wanted that unity. I wanted the feel good factor. You know, we had it for a certain period against Sheffield United recently, so it can be there, but not if they don't turn up on this game.
Yeah, it was there Wednesday night as well, wasn't it? Until the equalising goal went in, and then everyone could see what was coming from there onwards. Yeah, you're right. This is absolutely massive for our season, because, well, let's hope firstly that we can still get out of it by Sunday, because obviously everyone else plays on Saturday. Hull go to Sunderland. Please, Sunderland, turn up. You know, that would keep Hull within range. I think Plymouth host Cardiff, so someone's going to get away from us, unfortunately, unless that's a draw. That would be happy days if that's a draw. And I think Derby are at home to someone that I expect them to win. I think it's Millwall. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But let's hope that the results go our way on Saturday. And then that will add to the motivation. Not that there should be any motivation needed to come out of the bottom 3 at the home of your rivals. That would be absolutely ideal. To go into next Saturday out of the bottom 3, to go into March out of the bottom 3, that would be ideal. You're absolutely right. If this goes tits up, then I think the season's done for. Listen, I think,
and that's their motivation.
yeah, of course. As I referenced a minute ago, they're ready to hammer the nail in the coffin.
Absolutely.
Don't let them do it, Town.
And it doesn't need me to voice it. They all know that is their motivation, because I don't think, and I could be wrong, that they're going to mount enough of a push to get promoted this season. They've probably still got that in their eye line, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So the one thing that they can do is really turn the screw here, and we can't. That can't be acceptable. It can't.
No, it needs to be from minute 1 to minute 90, exactly what it was at home. Just launch balls at them. They don't like it physically. They haven't liked it physically for a long time. And see where we get. Quality can go out the window on Sunday. Don't get me wrong. I slaughtered the quality of the game of football on Wednesday night. It was atrocious from a quality standpoint. It was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but that was against relegation rivals, and you expect them to turn up as a home side and do a job there. Listen, they are, unfortunately, the table doesn't lie, quite significantly better than Luton this season. But we can't allow that to be the narrative.
Over the course of the season they are, but they've only won 2 of their last 11. It's not like we're playing a brilliantly informed side. Okay, one of those wins was at Middlesbrough last week. That looks a good win, but as I've referenced, Michael Carrick seems to be getting close to the shelf there, so maybe that's not necessarily the win that it was. But, you know, we just have to win this game of football. It doesn't have to look pretty. Of course, we'd all love it to look pretty. It can be a worse game of football than I sat there and watched on Wednesday night, for all I care, as long as this time we come out of it with the right result.
Yeah, and that could actually be a blueprint for the rest of the season if they couldn't manufacture that, because we're beyond pretty. We don't need pretty, we need points. That's it. That's harder. Easier said than done, isn't it, at the moment? Let's be honest, because 11 winless games is not good enough.
No, it's not. What a time for Matt Bloomfield to get his first win as Luton manager. I mean,
it's an absolute narrative changer in every sense of the word for his tenure, for this season, for the relegation fight, for the local rivalry, for everything. It is huge. The stakes on this one are much bigger than at any point we've played them before, I would suggest. In this century.
Yeah, absolutely. From our point of view, yeah, no doubt about that. You know, let's score a goal this time. 2 visits there, not scored yet, have we? They've actually been awarded the most penalties in the Championship this season, so be clever when the ball's in and around our box. Let's not dive in. Let's not give them sort of something to fall over or anything like that. Luton's team, I mean, it has to change. It just simply has to change, doesn't it, from Wednesday night? I mean, if he's over his illness, Morris has to go back in, right? He's got the physicality of everything that I've just called for, alongside Nordas. So in for Elijah.
You know, based on the Plymouth performance alone, you'd have to say, yes, he was in the thick of so many different chances. He had that one at the start, which he should have got on target and should have scored with. He also had another shot blocked, which is fair play to the defence. He assisted Brown for the goal. He was, in and amongst it. Clearly, I don't think he's still fully up to speed and stuff. And I did point out in the last one, he needs to stop just barging into players when the ball's nowhere near him, giving away silly free kicks. But Elijah's form is dropped off a cliff. He's not scored for 2.5 months, I think. And he should have scored against Sheffield United twice. He had a very good chance, which is probably not as clear-cut, against Plymouth. He's missed, if that is included in his statistics before the game, then he's missed 26 big chances in the division, and that's the most. And we can't afford to miss those chances. He played really well against Sheffield United otherwise, but we need the goals to go in. But if you're comparing the two performances on Wednesday night against Plymouth, then Nordas was more involved. He affected it more. So you, on that basis alone, you say you'd put Nordas and Morris up front if Morris is fit. The counter argument is that Morris and Eli know each other's games, and it worked well enough on against Sheffield United. So we'd have to wait and see on that one. If he's fit, if he's available, I think he comes back in, and I think you put Nordas with him.
I mean, if Elijah does start here, we will be watching two of the three worst strikers for converting chances into goals in the Championship this season, because Bakun Bayo's back from his 3-match suspension for this game. How handy is that? And he's third in that list. Wilson Isidore, top, XG rather than big chances missed. So yeah, two of the three best strikers in terms of getting goal-scoring chances are on the pitch, but obviously you only have to look at their goal output to show that they're not delivering, or potentially are. I would go Nordas and I would go Morris. Nordas is only going to get better with the games that he's played. I don't want to hear none of this. We need to protect anyone for this game either, by the way. They've got 6 days to be protected after this. I thought he showed some nice touches at times, Nordas, when the ball was actually played within his vicinity. I thought he showed some nice touches. He showed a confidence. The cushioned header into Brown for the goal was really good, when you think he's got a beefcake all over him at the time as well. Yeah, okay, the radar needs improvement, and it needs improvement fast. He's not alone in that category, is he? But for a first 90 minutes in English football, I mean, we couldn't even judge him on the 8 minutes at Sunderland, because I think the ball spent its time in the other half of the pitch to him. For a first 90 minutes in English football, there was encouragement there without a shadow of any doubt. Does need to be stuff on top of that, and on top of it quite quickly, but I think, well, I'd like to see how those two play together first anyway. I just would. I take your point that Morris and Eli is a partnership that works well together, or can work well together, and did work well together last Saturday, but Eli just doesn't look... He just looks like a geezer whose shoulders are slumped, and you can't go into Derby Day with slumped shoulders, because they'll pick up on it straight away.
We're at the stage, and I like Eli.
I do.
I've got a lot of time for him. I think, in the Premier League when he struggled, he had that period out and he came back stronger. But just as a bloke, I've got a lot of time for him. But the only time we've got now is to be ruthless.
Top level sport is ruthless, Jimbo, and we've been guilty of not being it enough. Don't let that be the case on Sunday, please, Matt. Please don't let that be the case. Any other changes anywhere along the line? There is talk that Reece Burke is getting closer and closer and closer to our first team. I'm not even worried about what he can give us. Just give us it. If he's that close, if he's close enough now that he's in, don't worry about all this. Just stick him in.
Yes, we have had that talk that he's close. I've got a hunch, and that's all it is. It's not inside information. It's just gut feel. But given Luton's injury record and the innocuous-looking nature of what happened to McGuinness just before the goal for Plymouth's goal, I wonder whether he might not be available.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in taking McGuinness off if there was nothing wrong with him, because they didn't take him off for a formation change, i.e., okay, you might be injured, we'll put a striker on. It's just a like for like. So that would suggest that he was clearly struggling with whatever it was. Was it an ankle?
I would imagine that he won't be available.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. So if Burke is, just put him in. I mean, if we're going to play back three, and I think we will, listen, by the time you finish on Wednesday night, Thursday's only really a recovery day, so Friday and Saturday, if you're going back to a back four on 2 days of training, that doesn't really make much sense to me either, even though admittedly we've recruited for the 4.
The thing is, if Burke is available, I would always put him in.
Yeah,
because we've spent years saying that he's the best defender at the club, and I think he is. Well, I mean, Naismith's a lone player, so he's the best defender at the club. Yeah, and he's a fighter. The only thing that is ever wrong with Reece Burke is that his body's made of glass and he breaks down. But he is a fighter, and he'll go in for challenges, and he'll rile up their lot, and He'll G up our lot. He's been at this club long enough that it's part of his DNA, and he'll want to impress. If he's available, I'd get him in.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, don't worry about looking after him or anything like that. Of course, long term, we do need to look after him. Let's take the risk and hope that he comes out the other side of it rather than not, because Mads Andersen down that right of a 3 doesn't really do it for me. There ain't no other options that do it for me, to be honest. Hashioka definitely wouldn't do. He's not even been on the bench recently, has he? So wing backs are the wing backs, aren't they? There's no better options at the wing backs. Midfield too. I mean, crikey, if we go there without Marvellous, I really will start to pull my hair out. Again, don't want to hear nothing that he hasn't played 3 games in a week very often. You know, this is the game. He's got 6 days to recover after that. Walsh alongside him may struggle to do the 90 minutes if this gets away from us. He could be the Gay Bosho fall guy of the last time we were down there, based on his record with regards to picking up cards. But I would still go with those two. Because Lamine suddenly seems to be completely out of favour.
Previously, he wasn't in the squad for the Sheffield United game, out of selection, but to not be again, I don't know. But the midfield actually against Plymouth did nothing really wrong because they were bypassed. They didn't have a chance to do anything right or wrong. Walsh tried; he's tidy on the ball. Certainly keep him in. If Fanny's not available or not fancied, then it's got to be Marv. And Tello, again, he had a great game against Sheffield United because they used him and he was allowed to. They played it on the floor. Didn't against Plymouth. It was up in the gods all the time and he couldn't get involved, but he's done nothing wrong. So I wouldn't change that midfield.
No, I mean, on Tello, he could win second balls against Sheffield United because the balls up to the strikers were able to be controlled. Very few of them were able to be controlled on Wednesday, and Plymouth's defenders weren't of a mindset where we'll just head it down. It was head it away, like you referenced, Rosed. Or Asgard doesn't live in Rosed, does he?
If anyone's got a Matty Spring 40-yarder in him, it'll be a Tello Asgard as well.
Well, that's it. Crikey, what we would give for one of them. And then a striker to actually score a second one soon after. That would be absolutely lovely. That was the last time we won down there, 2002, 23 years ago. Well, yeah, 22 years and a few months ago, isn't it? Yeah, so that's how we see the team. Just the one change, really. Morris for Adebayo, or Morris for Nordas. Morris coming in anyway, unless McGuinness isn't fit, in which case we would hope to see Reece Burke. No one else really across the pitch coming in for the Town, unless, of course, we do change formation. I refuse to believe that that's going to be the case, but hey, I didn't see it coming the first time round, so it wouldn't necessarily be the biggest shock in the world if it comes along this time around. But the two things that we have to show on Sunday, we have to show fight, which we haven't shown enough of often enough this season. To be fair, we've shown it a bit more this week, but we haven't shown it nearly enough over the course of the season. And we need to show an appreciation that we're in a relegation battle. You know, we need to show a little bit of urgency at times. Funnily enough, on Wednesday night, our restarts got quicker when we went 1-0 up than when we were 1-1 or 0-0. And it's like, other way round, please, chaps. Well, just show a little bit of understanding of the situation.
But at the time when that goal went in, Plymouth were offering nothing. There could have been, I felt there was a sense that you go on and try and wrap up the game. And again, shot themselves in the foot. We've been down that road too many times and we've spoken about it. So none of that. None of that.
Well, no, if we do get in front, slow the game down. Do what every other team do to us. You know? Give yourselves the best chance of getting back into position and everything else. Find your man and mark them and all this, that and the other. Every single one of the 11, I presume we're going to be in this blue, well, not this blue shirt, but the new blue shirt. Every single person in a blue shirt on Sunday, just win your individual battle. Don't worry about the rest of the team. Let the others take care of this. You win your battle, and enough of them win their battles, we win the game of football.
I hope they're not in the blue shirt. Get back to white for this game. White was the last time we won there. I mean, I appreciate them clutching at straws, and these things don't particularly matter, but the blue's got the stripe, isn't it? The white one hasn't. So
it's the stripe.
It's the like I say, I'm being a bit facetious here, but we're in such dire situations. Look at everything.
You know what? We're in that dire a situation. I'll take the kit clash and wear orange because it's the only shirt we've got points in this season.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is where we are in it. We're talking about bloody what strip to wear because it's, it might be lucky or the last time we went down there and bloody hell. That's where we are.
How did it ever come to this? Jeepers. Might as well wear that one. The old rugby shirt from 1950 or whenever it was when Tony was a nipper. Win those personal battles, Tan. Every single one of you, whoever you're up against, beat the guy in front of you and then we'll win the game. If they're not up for it, happy days. You've got to think roles are reversed from 2 years ago when we'd got shellacked down there. Under no circumstances were we going to let that happen again at our place. You've got to think the roles are reversed and they're going to have that mindset, aren't they? We stunk the place out of their place. That is not happening again here. Expect it. Have to weather a 15 or 20 minute storm as a result of that. Stand strong for that 15 or 20 minutes and you just don't know. We're bottom of the table. I would imagine a lot of their fans are going there expecting that we're going to get rolled over by them. If we can get to 20, 25, 30 minutes and the game is all square, we might get them on their backs. You referenced their home form hasn't been great recently. We might get them on their backs. And if we do, that'll make it an awful lot easier. They tried to do that here. They couldn't. Let's do that there. And it might become a slightly easier game if a game of football away from home right now can become slightly easier. Of course, the away form has to be put into the equation. I repeat, as I've repeated, unfortunately for the last 14, we will win a game of football away from Kenilworth Road at some point. And I hope it's this season. And I have to be honest, I'm starting to run out of faith that it will be. But I hope it's this season. And of course, I hope it's on Sunday afternoon.
This game is going to be painful. It's going to be torturous. It's going to be nail biting. All those things don't necessarily mean defeat. Oh, you ain't got any nails left. Yeah, I know. Most of you out there probably ain't got any nails.
They've long gone.
All of those things don't necessarily mean defeat, but you're going to have to go through the pain barrier in nearly every sense of the word to achieve a result.
But if you can get the crowd against them, it makes it easy. Not easy than if the crowd's on top of us, for example.
Yeah, 100%. All those things ring true in every away game, but certainly in a derby away game.
And the good thing is, if there is a good thing in amongst this absolute show of a run of away games, sorry to get the bleeper out, is we have led in 4 of the last 7 away from home. We can go ahead. Now, obviously, when we go ahead, we'll have to encounter that age-old problem that definitely is a caveat and a hangover from the Premier League days of going ahead away from home and not seeing out. That Bournemouth game is the caveat to all of that. But let's get in front. If we get in front, then their crowd really will start turning. And you never know, it might be an easier afternoon. I'd be amazed if we go in front and we get a reaction that we got at Newcastle, for example, where the noise decibels went up 100-fold. I'd be amazed if it's that sort of situation. Just don't think their fans have that in them.
Let's hope not. Let's hope they don't give them a chance to have that in them or give that to their team or anything. It's a day where somehow Luton have to get nearly everything right. And we haven't had any of those for quite some time.
Just roll your sleeves up, give it everything we've got, Town. And just don't believe they're anything special, because they're not, of course, nor are we. But that's, that's by the by, really. I suppose we should actually reference, we haven't mentioned Jacob Brown. He did score the goal. Do we bring him in? And of course, he scored the goal that capped off the afternoon at our place. We've both spoken about Morris coming in, but is there a place anywhere for Brown?
Yes, if Morris isn't available, then yeah, probably. I don't what I don't think really particularly worked, even though Nordas had a good game, is the two big men of Elijah and Nordas are quite too similar. And then you saw quite well within 30 seconds, 40 seconds, that the big man to the little man resulted in the goal against Plymouth. So if that little snapshot is a formula of anything, also he got another chance. Elijah had that one sort of decent chance, but not the clear cut that Brown did. So Brown had two in the short time he was on. So, and Bloomfield has talked him up as doing well in training and a good bloke as well, which we know he is.
Who doesn't play well for this football club and do well in training? Maybe that's it. Be crap in training. We might be good in the game of football. Yeah, that would be interesting with Jacob Brown, actually. I think you're right. I think I'd still go Morris and Nordas. But obviously, if Morris is still ill, then Brown. Yeah. But I'd like to hope that Morris...
I don't see Morris and Nordas as the big man and the big man like Elijah and Nordas. You know, Morris is a big fella, but I think he's more able to play off the knockdowns of the big fella.
Agree.
Whereas Nordas did all that stuff, and I don't know if Elijah knew what where he was supposed to fit in that role, in that regime.
Yep, I would agree with that. So that's how we see it going. Everyone's just got to win their battles. And let's hope we come out on top. Listen, season really, I mean, we said the season started against Plymouth. It really has to start here. And where better place to start it than our rivals where we haven't won for a while. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. We won't leave you without score predictions. Me to go first, I can't possibly predict Luton to lose the derby. If I've not predicted it so far, it's definitely not happening here. By the same token, I can't sit here after this away run that we've been on and confidently state that we're going to win. So my arse is firmly ridged to the fence, and we'll draw the game 1-1. And do you know what? I might even take that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking along the same lines. I don't really know where to go with this because, as I'm at pains to point out, I'm pretty much a realist. And nothing suggests to me that Luton are going to get out of the current mess they are in, even though they have the opportunity. There is the games mathematically. But I don't see that the away form is going to change so drastically. I want to be wrong. I want to be so wrong. But I was going to go 1-1 as well, mate, because I as much as a realist I am, I can't, in this one instance, this one fixture,
not on Derby
I can't
day.
do a Kev and predict defeat. So I'll go for a hopeful, incredibly optimistic one.
Yeah, that's the same 1-1 that I'm for. And basically, what's happening here is he's in front and he's predicting his lead when he goes second. That's all that's happening.
I'm
here.
so far in front of you. I think that's a non-contest as well, mate. It's like I can't do it for this one. It's just something in me. We all know what that is. Derby day.
Derby day, indeed. Yep. We'll all be up for it. Of course, we'll be up for it. If you have got a ticket, I mean, I don't need to tell you this. But if you have got a ticket, as loud and as proud as we've ever been, the boys need us more than ever on Sunday. And let's just hope that it is the catalyst that can kickstart a final quarter of the season that offers something that gives us a semblance that we can get out of this mess that ultimately we've created for ourselves. Keep your score predictions coming in. We'll update the leaderboard after this game. Do keep your comments coming in. It's not great right now, admittedly. Who would you like to start up front? Does Morris come straight in? Plenty of you wouldn't have him in. I appreciate that. If you wouldn't, would you have Jacob Brown in? Do you still start with Nordas after Wednesday night? What about in defence? How do you see it there? Let us know, and we'll keep an eye over all of the comments, and we'll discuss opinions and things when we do the review podcast, which will be out at the usual time. So that will be out in the early hours of Tuesday. We will review it on Monday, obviously, with this being a Sunday game. Thanks to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for all the designs that you see on set. Just before we go, Mark, I know you're walking to the derby, so all the very best if you are listening to this as you walk, or best of luck if you're listening to it beforehand. Generally, I think it's during. So keep on going, and let's hope the boys put in as much effort and fight on the pitch as what you're doing to get there, and that you come out with the reward that you deserve.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all the charity stuff is still there. Search Mark Crowther. There's Just Giving page. Help if you can, and well done, Mark.
Yep, well done indeed, mate. From Jimbo and myself, until the review of what we hope will be a derby day to remember rather than forget. Come on, you Hatters, let's do this.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
The Luton people